Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. For today's review is going to be all about the movie Val, essentially a documentary starring Val Kilmer from his start of his movie career to essentially the end. So let's get into it here. With this movie itself, it's basically describing Val Kilmer, his life from when he got into acting to his filmography to what happened towards the end of his career, because as you know, unfortunately he got diagnosed with throat cancer, which affected his career, affected his life essentially. And there are parts in this documentary, in this movie, where you just see him when he's talking, he has to push a button in order to talk, and it's just so heartbreaking to listen to, heartbreaking to hear him when he's talking. I heard about this movie when it first came out, but I was kind of holding back towards it. But then after seeing him in Top Gun Maverick, a movie that I thoroughly loved and enjoyed, and I've seen it so many times, it got me curious about it, because I love Val Kilmer. I've enjoyed a lot of his movies. The two standouts is obviously Top Gun, the original when it came out, and watching him growing up as a kid, seeing him as Batman. Now I know there's lots of mixed opinions about his performances and everything, but I thought he done a decent job. And after seeing that little aspect, and I'll get into that later on in this review after his views and thoughts on it, I think he did a fantastic job given the circumstances. But I've seen his movies. I think he's a fantastic actor, and it was great to see him from the very beginning recording all of his behind the scenes in the movie industry, his family lifestyle. It was just very enjoyable to see, and you get to see all of that in the movie itself, in this documentary here. And what I really enjoyed about this, I'm going to call it a movie because it's a movie slash documentary slash biography type style, but what I really enjoyed is that his son, who is called Jack, his son was the one voicing most of the things throughout this movie. He sounds very familiar to Val Kilmer itself. So when you're hearing it in the movie, you hear his son, but it sounds a lot like him, which I thought was a really nice touch. And I loved the little moments he had with his son as obviously growing up. And there's parts where especially when they were talking about the Batman section, him and Batman, they had a little scenes of them in a pool, scenes of them just messing around. It was really nice to see that connection between the two of them, and it was just really nice to see his son's side of things. And you get to see because there's one particular moment as well where Val Kilmer does a little prank on him, pretending that he not fell over, but passed out and stuff, and him pushing the button, the way Val Kilmer sounds, but just messing around with his son. It was really heartwarming to see. But I really like that touch of having his son do the voiceover work, because it's voicing Val Kilmer's opinion through his son. So I really like that bit. I really like that touch. And so as it progresses, you get to see his career early on. You get to see him starring in a play. Basically, there was a play where you star Kevin Bacon and Sean Penn, where it was him as the original lead, but then he got demoted to the second lead, and then demoted to the third lead because you've got Sean Penn available, Kevin Bacon available. You get to see the interactions there, and then you get to see behind the scenes of multiple different movies. Growing up, you always hear these stories about Val Kilmer, how he is being difficult and all that stuff. So it was great to see that side of him, because in one particular part of the movie or slash documentary, you see him recording with the director, having little arguments about them wanting to have everything videotaped. So you get to see that side of him, and I'm so happy that he was able to do that, and he was able to record everything from his early ons to the more recent times. It was really fun to see, because you get to see that personality of him. You get to see what he is what he was in his early career, what he was throughout his career. And for me, my takeaway from him, seeing all of that, I could see his passion, his creativity in the movie itself. He was passionate about the projects he was doing. He wanted to give his input, he wanted to give his creativity. He really wanted to make the movie successful, and whatever he was playing, he wanted to make the character successful. So you really get to see all of that in the found footage in the scenes that is being portrayed to us, which I loved when they did that. I really found it fascinating, and you get to appreciate Val Kilmer more because of all of this. And what I really found also heartbreaking too is when you get the movie, as you get to understand more of his backstory, you get to understand more of when he was starting on early, because his father wanted to be a really successful estate agent, I believe that he called him. So I apologize if I'm getting the name incorrect, but I think it was an estate agent. He bought a whole bunch of land. He got his son Val Kilmer to become his guarantor, but then when that failed, when he couldn't muster up the money, Val Kilmer had the choice to either sue his father or just help him out and give him the money to just sell off everything. So it was really touching and heartbreaking to see taste what he has to sacrifice, what he had to do for his father, and you see what kind of man he is, what kind of guy he is. And I really appreciate that, and you get, I said, you really get to appreciate Val Kilmer as a character even more. What I loved too is when getting into his creativity aspect, when he's mentioning the part about playing in Top Gun, how he purposely created a rivalry with Tom Cruise's character to build that on set so that it comes across in the movie. You get to see that kind of mind he has, and that's what I really liked about him. You can say what you want about some of his movies, some of the characters he's portrayed, but you can see how much he would give his heart and soul into the roles he was playing. And that also comes across because I got to see the Batman when it was coming out, and I said, there was a lot of mixed reviews, but then when you get to see his experience with it, how he loves Batman growing up, as we all do, and when you get to see his experience with it, how he's in the costume and he doesn't get to move, how he as he doesn't have his creativity or his control on what he wants to do with the character, the costume, all of that. It just, you can even see from his words too how it was focusing a lot on the Riddler playing by Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, so he doesn't feel like he did as much as he wanted to. And you can kind of see I appreciate what he did in Batman. I know it's not the best movie out there, not the best Batman movie out there, but I appreciate him for what he did in that movie, and I loved getting to see his experience, his thoughts, and his process on that whole experience. And I really liked his story of how he found out he got Batman. He was literally in a bat cave looking at bats, and then once his agent finally got a hold of him, telling him that he is trying to become Batman. I really liked that little nice tie-in. That was really cool to listen to. But then obviously as he's getting older, as he's getting towards the latter part of his career, he starts playing this character Mark Twain, and he's doing these shows, trying to raise enough money to get a production for it. But then that's when he starts getting the throat cancer. Unfortunately, his voice starts losing, and you just see it's so heartbreaking and really gut-wrenching to see him losing his voice and him thinking his career is over. Seeing him nowadays when he is pushing the button to talk, there's even one really, really heartbreaking bit of him at a convention, and you see all these fans appreciating him, having his autograph being signed, but then it's just taking a toll on him. So it's so heartbreaking to watch all of that. But at the same time, it's so great to see everybody showing their appreciation for him, and seeing that love that he's getting, and seeing his support and his family there. It's just, it was really, really gut-wrenching, but it's also incredible to look at the same time. So I think honestly, overall, if you haven't seen this movie, I would definitely watch it just to experience that. If you are a fan of Val Kilmer, to watch this documentary. If you haven't seen a lot of his movies, but you also want to get not the scoop, but the behind the scenes and all of that kind of stuff, I think you should definitely go out to watch this. It was really, really enjoyable, heartbreaking and emotional, and gut-wrenching at the same time. But it's something that it's just something that you should witness, and you should see all of that, all of his behind the scenes, all of his life story. It's it's a really great documentary slash movie, I would say, and it's something that I would recommend 100%. But if you have seen it though, and like if you've seen Val Kilmer's movies in general, if you've seen Top Gun or Batman, starring Val Kilmer, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of his movies, what you thought about this movie if you've seen it. Let me know all down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already though, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any videos here. I'll be posting a lot of videos in October for Halloween, so keep an eye on that. But again, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. This is YK Reviews.